Good afternoon, guys. No one's here yet, but I am going live with Melvin Robinson. So let me add him on. Hey, Melvin, I just sent you a request to bring you on. You got it?
You got it.
Hey, how are
Hey,
you?
hey. Like we look good on camera.
I know, see, it wasn't that bad.
Nah, yeah. I got my little extra lighting in here, so I feel like a professional.
Right, right. So professional tonight.
Yes. We're the professionals in our industry.
Yes, that we are.
So yeah, so I definitely appreciate the invite, and I'm always excited to work with you on everything that you have going on.
Well, I appreciate you. You know, we've been working together for a while now, almost the beginning of when I first started real estate. So
I
that's been
think
a
that's
while.
4 years.
I no, I've been a real estate agent about 6.
Oh wow! So I'm losing track. So that was, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a little while. So I think we started probably like a year in. And so, yeah, it's been a pleasure working with you. And I appreciate you jumping on tonight. I'm trying to invite a couple people. So if you see me doing some things, that's what I'm doing. Just trying to invite a couple people on to the uh, call. So
Okay.
first of all, I want you to kind of introduce yourself. Tell everybody what your business is and how you got started. Give me all the background.
All right, guys. So again, I'm Melvin Robinson with Integrity Air and Home Inspections. I've been doing heating and air home inspections roughly almost 20 years. I'm product of the Marine Corps. I started out, as a helicopter mechanic, and I've always been mechanically inclined. So with that, I joined the Marine Corps, started, knocking it out, doing what I had to do. I was a pretty good Marine. I could shoot. I was a marksmanship instructor on the range. So anytime people came on needing to learn how to shoot, I was always that type of instructor. I was on the color guard. So, being 6'4", they always want to use extra tall people to do the color guard. So I had to do a lot of funeral details, different things that, I really didn't want to do at a young age, but I learned to appreciate. So as I was being a helicopter mechanic, I decided that, I wanted to go to school for heating and air at night. And I was able to do that, but you have to get approval to do that. And they approved me to do it. I was able to go to school, work during the day, PT in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, go to school till about 9 at night, and then come home and just do it all over again. And that was just, I don't even know how I did it, but I was able to get that done, knocked out 2 years of schooling doing that. And I decided that, I knew I was, I wanted to be a Marine, but I knew I just had to do something different. So I decided to finish my career doing that. And I became a heating and air technician at SD's Heating and Air. That's a local company here in Atlanta. And with that journey, I worked there for about 9 years, and I started, it was about 2004. And I went to Atlanta Tech to become a home inspector. And it was a professor there that wanted me to write a business plan. And I really didn't know what I wanted to write, but somebody had put it in my spirit to be a home inspector. When I was in the Marine Corps, one of the guys was like, "Hey, we used to get like flyers in the mail, and he had a flyer that said, be a home inspector, be a HVAC, be some type of technician or whatever." And I remembered that, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go and do something for home inspections. And I wrote the business plan on home inspections. And one of the core values we had was integrity, honor, courage, commitment. So I chose integrity to use as the business name. And once I did that, I wrote the business plan. I went to school for heating and air. I think it was like 3 weekends all day. Knocked that out. And the next weekend, I had got my first home inspector. I used to do home inspections in books. And it was written out in the book. I used to put pictures on CDs back in the day and hand that to the real estate agent or the client when I finished the inspection. So it was a whole lot different back then. And now I'm, almost 20 years in, I still look good, and you know, still knocking it out. And it definitely has been a great journey. A lot of ups and downs. You know, Atlanta was way different back in '04. You could buy a house in Atlanta for about $2,000 if you had cash on hand. So that's long gone, and you know, everything is just is business first, and you know, with the family and having kids now, it's just all about, you know, trying to make sure that they're comfortable and everything is going smooth. So Angela helps me run the business.
20 years is a long time. That's a long time. That's something to be proud of. Because,
thank you.
especially in this industry. So 20 years in, and Angela is your wife, and she is your business partner.
She is, yeah. So Angela runs the back office. She does the books. Make sure that I'm doing what I need to do. She'll update the software, recommend software. She'll say, hey, we need to do this, change this. We also have the heating and air portion of the company as well. So the guys that work for me, she'll navigate their schedules, and just kind of do all the stuff that is the sticky stuff and the things that I'm not great at. And she just kind of makes up the difference to make that gel work. And she's really a big intricate part of how we operate and making things just kind of mash together.
I think the first time I met you and Angela was at Keller Williams at one of our meetings, and you were up there speaking, and Angela was videotaping or taking pictures of you. And that's when I heard about you guys. Someone told me, like, Melvin, you should try them. That's the best company. You know, that's the only one I use. And so that's where I first met you guys. And I thought you guys was a great team then. So
yeah, thank you. And, you know, and likewise, you know, we kind of, like every time we see you and Thomas, we kind of mirror each other. Like, it's great to see another couple that's doing powerful things, and I can see y'all growth, and the growth is definitely like amazing. So just how you present yourself, and you know, Thomas is always there with you. That's the type of stuff that we want to do, and you know, Black Power. I mean, women run the world. You know, I always said that. I will continue to say it. And you guys make things easier for us when we can't see the vision. Or we may make a bad decision. You'll say, no, babe, I think you need to do it like this. And it just always comes together in the end.
well, and I think just having that support, like you said, just having that support system, you know, because you may not hear something that she has to say, or you don't understand it, and she may get it, and then vice versa. You may say something, and she's just like, you know, okay, I didn't think about it that way. So just having that person that you can bounce things off of that understands what you're doing, because sometimes if you're not in the industry or you're not a part of it, you really can't give a good recommendation or response to someone when they're coming home talking about it. So just having that support is awesome. And so I see you guys have it. Yes, Thomas and I do have it, and I thank God for it, because it definitely makes it a lot easier when I have to do, like, I had to go see something yesterday. I got to see a house, and I'm like, Thomas, I need you to go with me.
Yeah.
You car, but I need you to go with me because, and so he's like, okay, let's do it. And so
yeah, level of comfort is definitely one thing that she gives me. And you know, I don't know about you, but when I come home, sometimes she's my punching bag on some things. You know, if it just doesn't go right in the field, I need to release the energy, and she kind of listens and takes the words sometimes and help me to re-navigate myself and make it better, you know. So because it's not always peaches and cream. I smile a lot, make it seem like everything's good on Facebook, but in the backgrounds, you know, it's a lot of stuff is going on. So we got to make sure that our significant others can help us with that.
Exactly. Because we definitely can't vent on social media. We got to vent.
You're right about that.
Going on, so only the people in the house knows that, you know, we had a bad day. So yeah, so let's talk about inspections. So I am a firm believer that everyone needs an inspection. I tell my clients that if we're buying a resale or we're buying a new construction, we need an inspection. So, you know, sometimes hearing it from me, you know, they need to hear it from somebody else. So let's hear it from an inspector. Tell me why.
Yeah, so So definitely home inspections is one of the critical parts of real estate. Even though I'm not a realtor, I feel like I'm in the area of just knowing so much now. It's like, if I want to be an agent, I could definitely, you know, make that transition. But having a home inspection is a critical part of the process to make sure that, one, your client knows what's going on, make sure that they're aware of what's going on inside the home, and give them that option to say yay or nay. And that's what a home inspection is for. To me, a lot of times people want to get my opinion on if they should purchase a home, and I have a lot of weight when it comes to that. And I'm not going to give that type of an opinion because you didn't pay me for that. You paid me for a written report to tell you what this home in details and the condition of the home. So we try to, one, stay professional. Opinion on if they should purchase a home, and I have a lot of weight when it comes to that. And I'm not.
So I think I lost Melvin. We had a bad connection somehow. So let me see. Facebook just will not let me be great. This is the second time this has happened. I might just have to start doing other lives. Hold on a second, guys. Let me see.
Yeah, that was weird.
Was that your bad connection or was it mine?
Yeah, I don't know. It could be Comcast in my area.
Okay, we're gonna let it slide. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so like I was saying, you know, when we're doing a home inspection and it's time to get the report done, we want to make sure that the client is aware of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and like I said, we're not realtors, so we're not giving them an area for them to say this house is a bad home or it's a good home. We leave that up to you guys, and we stay in our lane. So the inspection process basically will go into me checking everything that I possibly can: the roof, the foundation, the plumbing, the HVAC, and I emphasize on those three areas because it becomes money items. Those are the big ticket items when you're talking about repairs or things that need to be replaced. The HVAC is probably going to be number one. That's one of the things that a lot of people really want to make sure is working properly. And like I said, I'm a licensed HVAC contractor, so I'm not only just there to inspect the house. I want to make sure that this HVAC is properly operating, so you guys don't incur unnecessary charges.
And that is a very big expense, like you said. So give me a ballpark figure if you had to replace an HVAC unit.
Okay, so since the pandemic, manufacturers have raised their prices on average 30%. And when you raise the prices that much in a short period of time, we know that's where the recession and stuff is coming into play. Inflation is just hit the HVAC industry hard. So if you were to replace a system, a basic system, now they've actually raised the SEER rating, and that's the amount of efficiency that an HVAC system puts out. So with them raising the efficiency rating, now the HVAC goes into a different area of money. And our average unit is going to range from $6,000 up to $15,000, depending on what company does it, what type of system you go back with, and it can get really pricey really fast. Even simple repairs are now averaging about $500 for like a motor or an evaporator coil would per se run you about $2,600, and that's if you need refrigerant. So it can go from left to right really fast, depending on what a client has to do. So if a client is there and they need to sell and they don't have the funds to put into the HVAC system, now the buyer has to take on those responsibilities if they're not willing to give any type of contingencies for that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Um, and so HVAC, the roof is another, if we have leaks, plumbing. But when you guys do your report, you guys put everything on there. I mean,
Yes.
everything.
Yeah. So and I'll tell you a reason for that is because everybody feels like we should catch 100% of every flaw that's inside of a home, and that's just not the case. Like, we want to catch the major items, we want to catch the minor items, but the small knick-knack stuff like hairline cracks in drywall, creaks in floors. We know that creaks in floors are not going to be repaired because you have to do too much work in order to pour the subfloor, get to the beams, glue the plywood down, resecure the beam. I mean, it's just a lot of extras that go into squeaking and cracks and stuff. So those things are really just added to make you aware of what's going on in the home. It's not necessarily going to get you in the area of having that buyer, the seller, I'm sorry, to give you money for that item to be repaired. And that people have to be realistic when they're purchasing. Homes are 90% used, and every room in the house is being used. And people need to know that it's going to be some things that are not going to be repaired, and two, some things that can't be seen because of either furniture or unforeseen issues that may lead to something else that was already problematic to begin with.
Right. And I think a lot of times too, with the inspections, you guys give them a full list of things that's wrong with it. And it's more as a information for them going forward. So they will know, okay, so we know that this was like this when we bought it. So in the next couple of years, we might get this fixed. But it's not something that's going to prevent them from moving in and going to cause some major issues immediately. Some things. Now, of course, we talk the major things we know, but the report itself is more of information. It also tells you like where your water pump,
Yes.
like the sewer and all this kind of stuff. So it gives you information that you would need to keep. And it's good to keep these reports and put them in a file so that you can go back and look at them.
Yes. And also, now, like with things coming up with online stuff, we have a software that you can use when you're trying to negotiate repairs. You can find out what industry standards are, and that's called the Home Binder, which has a repair pricer in there. That repair pricer will allow a buyer to go in, submit their report to a national company. It's industry standard, so they will send back a report that will tell you from the minor details to the major things in order to have you be able to basically submit that straight to your amendment, and that way it could be either repaired or denied, and that way buyers have just one more chink in their armor in order to use, and mainly for you guys. So when you let your buyer know, hey, Integrity's going to do your inspection, they offer this, and that. And then we can go into, they can use that binder to use the repair pricer in order to get the necessary repair items.
And what all do you offer?
So yeah, so when somebody books with us, the first thing they're going to get is an online report. You're going to have that report within 24 hours of the service. Once you get your report, you have what's called a home binder. The home binder allows you to have a repair pricer. You're going to have the binder, which will allow you to put like paint codes. For instance, we painted the one room in our home. We could not find the paint code, so I go to the paint store to match up the paint code. It was not the right paint code. It was 2 shades off. So I've just wasted $60 on paint that I can't use. So that binder allows you to add different paints, different work that you've done in the home. Anything that you could think of that you need to add, it's almost like a binder that you would sit on your desk, but it's online. It's saved by a computer backup, so it will always be there. And then the last thing is a 120-day home warranty. So that 120 warranty will allow a buyer to use if something were to be missed in the report. Now, everything's not covered, and God forbid we miss something major, but things do happen. We got to be honest with ourselves. So that binder, the warranty allows you to use that if something were to come up with the HVAC. If the plumbing were to leak, if you had a small leak under the sink and it was the weekend, you need somebody to repair. That warranty is paid by us. We actually provide that, and you have that for 120 days. And if you decide you want to continue with that warranty service after the 120, then you can do that, and you could just take up the difference of the payment to continue that service. But that's offered through us. We pay for it, and it's worth it because you don't have to even worry about it.
Okay.
But I will
Okay.
say they have to sign up for the home binder. If they don't sign up for the home binder, you don't get the service. So they normally get that in their email after they get the inspection report. Once they get the report, they can go in and sign up for the binder, and then that will stay with the house.
Oh, well, that's good to know. I didn't know that. So I knew that you offered something, but I didn't know that it goes along with the home binder. So I'm glad you told me that. So
Yeah.
now I will tell my clients that too, so they will know to sign up for that.
Yes. And that's always something. It's extra. It's no charge to them, but it's just one more step that they could do. And also, you as their realtor can go in and do the repair pricer. Like, let's say it's 12 o'clock at night, you can do the repair pricer that night and make sure that it's back within the 24-hour period. That way, you can go ahead and use that on the amendment.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And on that note too, because last year we was in a market where we're doing 3 days due diligence, 5 days due diligence. How quickly are we able to pretty much, I know I've gotten you out there in the next day or two. So are we still able to kind of do those 3 days? But
most of the time, it depends. Like now we're getting into the summertime. I'm booking out like, maybe 3 or 4 days. Some weeks it may be next week before I can get to an inspection. And hiring home inspectors is not like hiring baggers at Kroger. They have to be able to meet my standards in order to operate under me. So a lot of times, I'm the one trying to get out to do the inspections, and then the heating and air portion, I got my guys doing that. Home inspections is just a little near and dear to me. So I like things a certain way. And if you know me, my reports are always the same. I always take a lot of pictures. If the buyer don't see the room, I'm taking a full shot of the room. I think I'm almost a professional photographer. My picture, I think they look really good. So so I have a certain way I do things, and I'm like McDonald's. You're gonna get it the same way every single time, and that's the way it's got to be in order to keep from making mistakes.
Okay. Well, the good thing is because your office is so good, I would check with Brittany and be like, hey, writing a contract.
Yeah.
I'm writing a contract. I'm going to try to put 3 days on there. Do you guys have availability? So I kind of ask in advance if I know that's what I'm going to do to see can I get, somebody in there within the time frame. But I haven't had any issues with that because at that time we was really asking you guys to do some quick work.
Yeah. That was crazy. I mean, that was a time period where it was just we basically was just doing inspection reports, and people was just, they looked at them, but it wasn't any repairs being done. It was just like, okay, we want to make sure it's not anything major. That's it. And it was just the weirdest time period. But now it's in certain areas we're still in that same. Like I did a home inspection this morning, $800,000 house, and they said no contingency, no repairs. So it was just weird.
Yeah, and that in certain counties, in certain areas, again, we're getting back to some of that stuff that we were last year. Like for instance, Peachtree City, there multiple offers, there are no contingencies because their inventory is going off as soon as it hits the market. Places like Newland and Fairburn, they're still sitting. We're still having some time. We don't have to rush on the some of the other counties. So it's really weird because usually it's pretty much across the board. Now it's just like here and there. So it's hard. You have to really know that town and that city to be able to advise your client on how to offer and what to say in time frames, because it's just different everywhere. It's not the same everywhere anymore.
Correct. Yeah. So that definitely is and that was kind of it's a break now, because it was just like, okay, we running and we don't have a break. It's like, okay, when can you do this inspection? So it's just that was too much. So I'm glad it's kind of getting back to where we got a 5-day due diligence at least, and that way we can have a little time to do things. And also, speaking of due diligence, diligence, like you yourself, you normally book your clients' inspection. So that's always great because you're in charge of making sure every detail is good. But a lot of times clients will want to be in charge of finding their own inspector, for instance. So if they call us and they only got 2 days due diligence left, now we're up against the gun to try to get the inspection done, get the report back, get the home binder done, get the repair pricer. And that's just a lot of effort. So we like clients to, one, call in the first part of the due diligence, don't wait. And let's talk about pricing a little bit. We're not the cheapest in town. If you want the cheapest, you could definitely find somebody that probably would do it cheaper, but we are the best. Like I said, I pride myself on doing a great inspection, and the services that we offer make up for the price. So I'm ICC certified. We could do the new construction. We could do flips. I've pretty much seen everything there is to see when it comes to inspection. So when people think they're getting a cheaper price, you're really just paying for something that somebody else don't have. So it's best to spend the right money in order to make sure that you're getting the right inspection. And our inspections normally start at about $380 and kind of go up from there. So if you're in the $800,000-900,000, you can expect to pay a nice amount for your home inspection.
Right, but it's worth it.
Definitely worth it.
You're paying so much more for the home.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you get the right home. You don't want to buy it and then realize you got an HVAC issue.
Correct. And if that happens, then you're talking about that little money that you paid me is not even going to make the first cut of the HVAC repair.
Exactly. So let's talk about some things that you deal with when you're out there. Okay, so let's talk about some things that has been deal breakers for some clients. Let's do some things that's big deal breakers and some things that you've experienced that are very small that people may have taken it and kind of ran with it.
Yeah, so the small stuff are like, window treatments. People are really funny about window screens. We had a house. The guy wanted screens put on the house, and they called me back and asked me about the screens, and I'm like, well, I don't know, I don't remember screens, but we don't really open windows that much in Georgia. I mean, it's just not really. Maybe twice a year we open the windows, but they was done with the house because they wanted screens, and the seller would not put screens in. I just thought that was just so interesting, to say the least, because I thought it was just so small. But everybody is different, and like I had a guy last week. They wanted the HVAC. So in the HVAC system, you got a copper pipe that's running down the wall, and sometimes this copper pipe can actually touch up against the drywall, so it made a wet spot inside the closet. I caught it because I know where the system is. I know where the line set is. So I explained it to the guy. And I was like, well, it's probably hadn't been running that long because, one, we just really getting the ACs going because it's just starting to get hot. And he just freaked out. Is mold behind the wall. It's wet. We can't deal with that. And I said, well, just have them to cut the drywall out and see what's behind it and kind of move on. So a lot of times, if I think something is small, that don't mean the client is thinking it's small, and they just may kind of just run with it, and it just goes off on a bigger deal. And sometimes I just have to stay neutral, let them be aware of it, let the realtor know what's going on, and then kind of move on from there. Because we don't know what the client is, and like we always say, you're a psychiatrist in this business when you're dealing with some people, so you don't know their emotional state when they're trying to spend that type of money.
Right.
And then to get into like a bigger issue, we had one that the septic tank was in the backyard, and the sellers was not aware of where the septic was located. So we had a septic tank company come out while I was doing the inspection, and the lines were right beside the pool. The house is 40 years old. I mean, the lines were clearly running out towards the back. Nothing was going on. The guy did not want to buy the house because he felt like the septic tank was too close to the pool. He said it was going to leak sewage into the pool, and there was going to be an issue. And I was like, well, I mean, it may, I can't tell you that it won't, but that was one. He ended up canceling the house. So a lot of times we don't even know if they cancel, and then all of a sudden we get another phone call for a home inspection. So and I'm like, well, what happened with the last house? I thought you guys was moved in, ready, unpacked, and high-fiving and jumping in the pool, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I know that happens a lot where things just kind of fall apart. And, I think because the inspection is the one thing that can make or break a deal. I
Yes,
mean, that's the first thing that can make or break a deal is the inspection. And so we as realtors try our very best to forewarn them in advance, that the main things is HVAC, the roof, I even say the hot water heater. And plumbing, those are the
yes,
main cosmetic things are not something that we could ask them to fix because we saw that coming in the gate.
yes,
We still put in an offer after we saw what it was. And so those are not the things that we need to ask for. But no matter what we say, it always come around where let's ask this, and this. And as real estate agents, as much as we advise, we still have to do what the client says and see what happens.
correct.
And to a certain degree, it's nothing wrong with asking, but we got to be okay if they say no. You know
That's
what I mean?
it. What's the ramification if they don't do what you ask? I mean, and sometimes the buyers are over. The ambition is overly done sometimes because you want all these repairs done. Because if I send a long list of repairs, they just think automatically, oh, my real estate agent is a magician. She's gonna get all these repairs done for me, and we're gonna move in this house and within 30 days, and the contractors are gonna do the right jobs, and we're not gonna have any issues, and it just sometimes don't transpire like that. So I guess we can transition over into re-inspections once the repairs are performed.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so anytime that the sellers agree to do repairs, my recommendation is 100% always get the house re-inspected if it's major items. If it's small things, you can kind of look over it with the realtor yourself and kind of make sure that things were done properly. 9 times out of 10, the loan officer is going to request receipts of the work that's been done. Just because you get receipts doesn't mean that it's a professional doing the work. So my recommendation is to get the re-inspection done, put eyes on the repair to make sure that it's 100% accurate. And sometimes, even if it's not accurate, it's mostly done to the effects of being right. Because one, a lot of attempts to do repairs necessarily could say that it was done. We've had that situation where sellers have done repairs themselves and it wasn't professional, but it was done. And I'm like, well, it's done. So I don't know what else to say, and they like, well, it don't look good. It's not right. I want it done. I'll say, well, I'm not in a position to make that determination to tell somebody that they have to come back and redo something.
Well, too, though, I think as real estate agents, when we write up the amendment, we need to definitely say a licensed HVAC, a licensed plumber, or for things that needs to be done by a licensed person instead of some things like change the light bulb. Yeah, the seller can do things, but when things like a roofer needs to come out, we need a roofer, not just a regular person. So I think sometimes we may not put that in there, and so
Yeah, yes. They take full advantage when that license or professional is not in there. Sellers can sometimes take advantage of that to get a handyman that says that he does roofing work, but he's really just a light bulb changer, like you say. And everybody that has a name on the side of a truck with a number is not a professional in their area. So I just think that buyers just have to be aware of knowing that the difference of a licensed person, professional, and a handyman. So a lot of times in Atlanta, if we have flips, some of these guys just do not know what they're doing, and I mean it gets bad. So if you got a flip type situation, highly recommend a re-inspection because it's just a lot of things that can go unforeseen or missed until you actually move into that home.
Right. And two, we talked about resales, but we also like to do it on new constructions because, like you said, you can walk a house 100 million times and it's still something you can miss. So that's just how builders are as well. No matter how many
Correct.
times, this could be something that they miss. We are human. And so to be able to have an inspector that's just your job is to come to inspect other people's work to make sure it's done correctly is always beneficial to do. Some people love to say, oh, it's a new construction, they're going to do it right. No.
Negative. Yeah. And there, you know, new construction, like, and I'll give you one of the companies. I know I probably shouldn't mention their name,
Don't.
but
Don't.
okay, I won't say it. Well, okay, a company, and we'll say the city that they're in, Peachtree City. We're pretty much everywhere, but they started out really good. They was in the city, and then once they started moving south, they either lost contractors or they started just having issues that they just going back and forth. And squeaking floors is like the main concern in these new construction homes. You got roof shingles that are blowing off the house before the sale of the house. It's just so much to look at in these new construction. Like back in the day, I used to like lick my lips because I'm like, a new construction, oh, this will be an easy peasy 2-hour inspection, turn the water on, check the systems. And people were like, nah, I don't want to get a new construction inspection. But now I'm like, dude, ma'am, get your house inspected, because after that 1-year warranty is up, you are on your own. And as a matter of fact, even with the 1-year warranty, they still give you a hard time of getting people out. So you want to catch that stuff on the front end rather than the back end to make sure that everything is legit.
Right. You definitely do. And again, it's easy for things to be missed or things that, you know, they just did a half-ass job of, just being honest.
Yeah.
And want to make sure it's done correctly. And the good thing is most of the time with new construction, if you catch it prior to, they will fix it.
Correct.
So you just send the whole report, unlike a resale that you have to like bit and pieces, you know, like, hey, could you fix this, and this, but don't worry about this, this. But a new construction, if you send the whole report of everything that's wrong, they pretty much go fix everything.
Yeah.
I had a new construction that we ended up having to walk away from. It was so devastating. We waited like 9-10 months for this house to be, and at the end, it was on a level where eventually it was going to start eroding.
Oh, wow.
Something about what's the little small wall,
The retaining wall.
Retaining wall. It was like on the side of the house or something. And the inspector told them that, you know, in a couple of years, you're going to have issues with this. And they were adamant, you guys got to fix this. And the builder was not trying to fix it. He was not trying to fix it. And we ended up having to walk away and then go find another new construction and wait another 6 months.
And a lot of times with new construction, what people fail to realize is it's minimum code to get these homes built. And what minimum means, a lot of times you wouldn't put minimum in your own home. You want the best, you want top notch. So when minimum comes into play, when you have a retaining wall, most of the time you will say, well, let's put a drain behind it. Let's reroute the water. Let's put drainage rocks in behind the wall. And that way the water won't erode. Like you got like some homes that don't even have gutters going down the side because it's minimum code. And they're not required to put gutters on a lot of new construction. So minimum code is very, very suspect when you talking about getting into $400,000, $500,000 homes because you just have bare minimum stuff. And I had one builder, they was using PEX plumbing inside the home, and it was just horrible. It was ran all over the place. It wasn't straight. And I was like, man, this just does not look good. Like, are you proud of this work? And he really looked at me and said, man, I'm good. And this is a product that they're selling for $500,000, $600,000, and they was really content with just running this. It just zigzags, just going through the house. And I'm like, man, this just eventually it's gonna knock. It just don't look good. So a lot of times the stuff don't look good if it's not straight and going horizontal. I'm just not with it, and I just don't like when they shortcut stuff like that or have the professionalism in order to do it the proper way. And one industry that I really respect are electricians, because they wire, anytime they wire a box, 9 times out of 10 the wires are straight, they're angled at 90 degrees. I mean, it's just a good job. So, and the reason I think they do that is because it's safety involved. If you and like even with HVAC, when I run my wires, when I do things, I want to make it as straight as possible because when I come back the next time and I have a problem, I want to be able to trace it out fairly quickly without having to jumble through a bunch of wires in order to figure out what's going on. So that's one reason I think electricians do that, and the jobs are really nice. They're straight and just have a good tastefulness about
Right. I got a question for you.
it. Okay.
So, for older homes
Mm-hmm.
where the codes are different,
Mm.
you know, when people get these inspection reports and we see all these code violations and they expect the seller to fix them, but when the house was built, it was not per code.
Correct.
So, you know, what is your conversation with people when they call you about this?
Basically, it is what it is. You chose a home that was built in 1940. The only time that code comes into play with a home that old is when you're doing repairs. If you go in and upgrade the kitchen, now you have to put in GFCI outlets. You have to, make sure that the outlets are so far away from the water. You have to make sure that you got the lights in correctly. So plumbing has to be in properly. So everything has to be done if they do upgrades to the home. So if you do a kitchen remodel, a bathroom remodel, that's when you have to bring it up to minimum code. But prior to that, it is what it is. The home is old. Is going to be left up to the buyer in order to bring that home up to code if they want to do that. But the seller, why would they have to do that if they're living in the home? It's just not really feasible. Like cast iron plumbing, for instance, they can repair it, but they're not required to rip all of it out in order to replace it because it's there, is working. They feel like, it's doing what it needs to do. So minimum code is only required when you have upgrades to a home.
Okay, so question. So if we did remodel a house, it's just to say it's a total good and it had cast iron, should it have needed to be replaced?
My recommendation is if anytime a house has cast iron pipes, it's old enough to need to be pulled out. Usually cast iron lasts about 30 years. And I've actually did a video where I found an old pipe. If you open a pipe up and look down the middle of it, you will see that it has a lot of sediment buildup. The rust is building up, it's breaking apart. It's going to be a problem. Also in the joints, you'll have roots coming in. You can have a break in the pipe that's unseen, and also on the bottom you have a lot of rust that forms also. So if somebody is going to gut a home, my recommendation is to pull the piping out. Don't save, and I call that unsexy repairs because it's not going to sell the house, but it's necessary to sell the house. So if you're gonna put a new roof on, if you're gonna put a new kitchen, a bathroom, take walls out and don't replace the plumbing. I mean, to me, that's not being a professional. That's just being a flipper that wants to make extra money, and that's not right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when you do the report for these older houses and you say this is not up to code, do you kind of say, but it wasn't, it didn't have to be?
Yeah. So that's a good question. A lot of times I don't even bring code into the factor in my reports because I'm not there to do a code inspection. Now, if I was hired to do a code inspection, we can talk about code all day, but buyers do not know code. The only way they know code if we tell them about the code, and code is left up to the interpretation a lot of times. So it's really hard to decipher between if a plumbing line is not right versus is it right, is it turned the wrong way. Those are the things that buyers really don't know. So the only thing they really want to see is tangible things that they can touch, feel, and see with the naked eye to make sure that the house is actually properly done. And flips a lot of them are not up to code. A lot of people will pull a permit, and just because they go pull a permit don't mean that you've actually passed that permit. You can pull a permit and never have an inspector show up, and you finally get to the point of getting ready to sell this home. And if I go to the county records and pull this permit, I find no permits have been passed. So you never got a structural permit, you never got a HVAC permit, you never got electrical, and you never got a final inspection. So those are the things that buyers need to be aware of because the county wants to make sure that those final inspections are performed.
Well, you know, people think that the county wants to have that done so they can add that extra footage on your house. So, you know.
Yeah. Not, and so when you hold a license, so the licensing boards was set up to make sure it protects the contractor, make sure that it protects the homeowner. So when a homeowner is spending $8,000-9,000 on a repair, the permit is pulled in order to make sure that, one, we're doing what we're supposed to do, and to make sure that the homeowner is aware of the job that is actually being performed. So they want to actually know what the job cost was. So when we go to list the permit, they want to know the square footage, the work that was performed, and the dollar amount. And that way the homeowner can be aware that, okay, this house's value has went up because I have done some repairs on the house, and the county is aware of these repairs. So the code is set up to protect the homeowner, because we all know that if a person has an opportunity to make money and they won't do something, 9 times out of 10, if you don't have it inspected or have somebody looking at it, you won't even find it until a year later, until you have a major item failure, and now you got problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had an issue on a house that I was selling, so I didn't pick the inspector.
Okay.
And the inspector put on the report that the stove wasn't working.
Okay.
And the lady was like, "It's working. She turns it on. It's working just fine." But when he was there, he hit a switch, or he went, the breaker went off, and so the breaker to the stove was off. And instead of him being able to turn it back on, he just said it didn't work.
Okay.
And so tell me, I've never had that issue with you, but I know it's certain things that you guys cannot do because y'all don't want to cause damage to the house, or it's not your place to figure out the problem. You just mark it as it's a problem, right? Is that kind of what?
Well, some inspectors, I mean, if I'm testing something, and if I feel like I did something wrong, I'm gonna try my best to fix it. And I'll give you an example. I was at a home inspection, and in the kitchen, every time I use a GFCI tester, and that's an electrical outlet tester, I tripped the outlet.
Mm-hmm.
The outlet did not reset. All right. So once I made a note of it, and I wasn't aware that it didn't reset. It was an older home. Came home, started doing the report. The homeowner came home, and she called and said, "Hey, my refrigerator's not working." The inspector must have tripped something. I said, "Well, I reset it, but it never reset because the switch was actually bad. Technically, I didn't cause the failure, but I did cause the failure because I tripped the switch manually in order to test it. But that's what our job is order to test it. Now, me being the person that I am, I just drove back down there, rewired it, got the refrigerator working. All is right with the world. But a lot of inspectors they're not like that. They're going to say, "Hey, you need to get this fixed. We're not, our job is not to repair something or to fix something." So it's on the seller in order to get that taken care of. And that's where the problem comes in. So I just look at things a little different. If I can fix something, but me being an electrical type of person or a handyman, I really know how to do a lot of things without causing a lot of problems. I'm not going to just write it up.
Right. But my thing is, though, at least a simple thing of turning on the switch, because you're supposed to probably do that anyway, right?
Yeah. I mean, if it was a breaker, then you always go back to the panel box to make sure that if none of this oven is working, you lost power. And I have a tester. I'll just test the outlet right there while I'm there. And if I know it's not that, I'll go to the breaker, flip the breaker, you back in the game, and kind of move on with the world. But some people just they just made different. They absolutely do not have compassion for things like this. Like, for instance, if I'm in a kitchen and I see that a drawer is loose and I have my drill on my side, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the screw up on the cabinet, because it is less work to do that versus me writing it up. And I feel confident that I can literally repair a screw versus having to put it in the report for a handyman to go out there that's going to charge them $150. And that's a plug too. You guys call me if y'all need a screw tightened up. I'll make sure your screws are tightened in the cabinets. How about that?
Plug. Okay. Well, that's definitely good that you would do that because, like I said, that guy could have caused the whole deal to be over because he said the stove
Correct.
doesn't work. I'm like, Lord.
Yeah, no, it's just a lot of different things out here that people just try to make it so hard about, and I can understand where the guy's coming from because you get sued all the time. You got people complaining. They want their money back because you missed one item. And I'm gonna tell you another thing. If you pay us, if you call our office and you pay us for a home inspection, you ain't getting no money back. The inspection is paid for, and when we go out and step foot on that property, my services are rendered. Therefore, no refunds are coming back. Now, if you need a refund, then we can talk about it. But once we service and we provide a service for it, then there's no refunds on home inspections. And a lot of guys are going to not give money back.
Well, okay, so why would we even ask for money back? Why would we ask for?
Well, for instance, if somebody say we missed something on an inspection, they feel like they should get a refund because somebody missed something. And that's just not the case because a lot of times, some things are not able to be caught or not able to be seen. And like I said, we're not perfect. So you have to be able to set up the stage to make sure people are aware of everything that can be done.
Well, the good thing is your business is people pay you up front before they either schedule.
Well, I learned my lesson on that. Yeah, I mean, I've done favors in the past, and once I've done that favor, the person decided they didn't want to get the house, and and the reason they didn't decide to get the house was because of my report or something, and I never got paid for the inspection. So and that's karma. It always works itself out. But business is business, and I align myself with people that like to do good business, and if we do a good service, we feel like we should get paid.
Right, and that's not. You're not the only one who would deal with that issue either.
Yes.
Like, well, something's not done right, then I should get a discount or I should get my money back. And I'm just like, no, those are two separate issues. So we deal with payment.
Yes.
There's something wrong. We deal with that on another, but I digress. I won't get into that conversation. But I think we pretty much covered everything. What do you think?
I think we did. We talked about the warranties, the new construction. The re-inspections is really a big one, and scheduling. I guess we can hit on that a little bit. So Brittany, she does an amazing job when it comes to scheduling. If Brittany's not available, they can actually fill out an online form, and that online form won't allow them to hold a slot, but it'll allow us to see that order when it comes through. That way we can go ahead and call the customer back to get them back on the schedule, or not back on the schedule, but get them on the schedule to make sure that their inspection is covered. And they can try to put in as much information as possible to make sure that Angela or Brittany has all the information in order to book the inspection properly. And the last thing is, you do a great job of it, but we just need the access code, and we all set. We don't even really have to see the client. We can go ahead and do the inspection. Oh, clients on the inspection, please show up an hour later when you book the inspection. Like, I don't need a client like hovering over me while I'm trying to work. It's hard to. When you go to work, your boss don't hover over you, so I don't want people hovering over me. I'm a professional. I can deal with it, but it's harder to work when people are talking in your ear and asking a bunch of questions, because that's when things get missed. And, if I don't put it in the report, it never happened. So, we want to make sure that I can get started. I like Brittany or Angela say, hey, show up an hour later, and that way we can get rolling and get started, and then the client can come in and ask questions, and we can go from there.
Right. And I always tell clients, if you want to show up, you can, but show up like 30 minutes to an end, like.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
I like your style. Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be walking around the whole time, and they're bored, and I mean, they got other things they could be doing too. So if they're go 30 prior to an ending, and just to get the recap of it, be able to ask you questions. But the good thing is even if they don't show up, and once we get the report, you're good about, and all of my inspectors that I use are good about being able to be called up on the phone and answer questions, because sometimes if you're not there to get that recap, something on the report may look a little worse than what it really is. And so conversations.
And what? I can appreciate, like, you actually call me, like, we respect each other in the profession. So you use somebody else on an inspection. I guess that you needed a second opinion. I'm always open. I'm not an egotistical person. If somebody has a question, they can call our office, call me. Brittany will answer a question, and because we continue to do business, and it always wraps it back around. So if another inspector did something, you have a question about it, please give me a call, and we can talk about it to make sure that it's all lining up, and we can continue to make sure that things going good. So I really appreciate the level of professionalism you have for me, because you can always call me and ask me things, even if I didn't do the work.
Well, I appreciate you for being able to give me that feedback as well, because, like you say, some people may not want to do that. So I do appreciate that you do that. And, something else I like to do is I like to have both of us on a conversation when we talk, so that we're all hearing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you hear a person so I like to sometimes have my clients on the phone and say, hey, Melvin, let me call my client. Can you explain this to them while I'm on the phone, so I can understand and hear exactly what you're saying? And I think
Correct.
that's the way to do it a lot of times, so that there's no disconnect between the client and the real estate agent. So I do like that. So I want you to do one thing before we go. I want you to throw all your social media sites out there so people can.
All right, my biggest one is I'm a TikTok star now. So Inspector Melvin. Inspector Melvin is Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, of course. So if you guys go to Inspector Melvin, you can actually follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, I have a YouTube channel. It's plugging along. I get me some followers on there. So Inspector Melvin on YouTube as well. Yeah, holla at your boy.
But the fun thing about yours is you love to put the kids.
I do anybody. I do it. Look, ain't everybody getting it. You know what I mean? Find out.
I love the you was playing like you was the Uber. You trying to hit.
Oh my God. Yeah, look, hey, you got to keep it lively around here. So everybody is, look, Angela, let me tell y'all this quick little story. So Angela purchased her Yorkie. She wanted her Yorkie. She found her Yorkie. She went in. I drove to get the Yorkie. I'm cussing. Look, man, you ain't gonna need this dog, man. Nobody care nothing about this dog. Man, me and Milo, man, we the best friend. We the best of friends. You understand? I had this joke all up on my neck. I done shaved. Hey, bring me Milo.
See, someone was asking about Milo when you was
Milo was a star. Yeah.
You talked on my live, and then I heard somebody say, "Where's Milo?" And I'm like,
Milo, yeah, that Milo is it. I mean, I'm in the bathroom last night. I'm giving Milo a haircut for an hour and a half. I'm sweating. Like, I didn't know it was this hard to shave a dog. But yeah, he ride with the belt. And when he get a little older, I'm gonna have him in the truck. Yeah. But look, y'all better be aware, man, because I'm telling you, if I find something that's interesting and engaging, it might go on TikTok. So pull the door, pull it. Hold on, let me open the door. I'm gonna show y'all Milo real quick. I got you. Give it to me. Yeah. Look, he a star. Milo know how to work it for the camera. Look at him, Milo. Get him.
Come on, he's adorable.
Yeah, look at that. I done shaved him up and got his little tail. I went all up in there. You know what I mean? That's what I do.
Yours or the Angela's?
Well, and Angela making, she took care of the payment, but Milo belongs to me. Okay, he's an Inspector Milo. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah. So we appreciate it. Yeah, you checking your fans out. Look at them, everybody. You see your auntie. Oh, I see your auntie on there.
So you need to get Milo a page all by himself.
Look, he will have one coming up soon.
Have more followers than you.
Tell your auntie Brittany hey, and the auntie Tracy, everybody on there. Tell them hey.
I appreciate you jumping on tonight and talking to me.
No, I appreciate you. Yeah, definitely fun, and we got to rerun this back.
Definitely, I'll make sure I'm not Brittany talking to hey Milo.
Yeah. Oh, look. See, now we should have had Milo doing the interview. We would have had everybody on here.
All right. Talk to you.
Okay. All right, kids. You have a good night. Tell Thomas I said come hit these balls with me.
Well, we'll be there in a couple weeks.
Hey, we got practice tomorrow.
telling you, don't be over there trying to make us look
I,
bad. Don't be over there talking noise because we missed the ball.
I
No,
understand. I understand. I'm good. I'm good.
this is fun.
Tell Mary, hey. Tell Mary, hey. Look at Mary. Tell Mary, hey.
So, if I don't see you before then, we will see you guys on the I think it's the 11th or the
Yeah.
9th, one of them days in
Yeah,
June. So,
I got it on the calendar, so don't worry about it. I'm gonna be there
yes,
early.
be there early. It's gonna be fun. We
Okay.
enjoyed it last year. All right, talk to you later.
All right. I'll see you. All right.